Welcome into the mid-roll queue, everybody. I got Benny Q, Shinto, Venenu, and Paul in here with me. Of course, mid laners for their respective SPL teams. All right, welcome in, gang. I know in the break we discussed we're going to talk some smack about the other roles at some point. But let's zoom all the way out for those who are currently, just getting into Smite, just watching Smite. As a mid laner, what would you describe your role as to somebody who just started playing Smite? What's your job as a mid laner?
Who starts?
What's that?
So for me, it's I don't know, try to not die and try to do damage and yeah, that's pretty much it.
You say build stacks?
No, don't die and do damage.
That's true. Don't die and deal
Yeah,
damage. Everyone agree? Don't die and deal damage.
Well, sometimes I like getting in there.
Yeah.
Sometimes I like
true.
starting it for the boys. So it depends.
It depends on the character, I guess, too.
Depends what the squad needs. Would you say mid is the most flexible role, or needs to be the most flexible role in the game? You can initiate, you can stay back, you can deal damage. Do you feel like as players over the years, you've had to be the most flexible as far as metas, in meta, out of meta?
This is my first year in mid.
Yeah.
So I don't really know.
Do you think you're the most flexible on your team? Fair enough. What do you think, Vin?
I think it's probably the most flexible is solo because you just put anything over there.
I guess that's true.
Technically speaking,
Nowadays, right?
throw anything over there. I guess mid is like okay flexible. Like you can play some different stuff and whatnot and make it work. So.
Mid meta at the moment. Are we in a good mid meta? Are we in a bad mid meta?
I feel like it's all over the place.
Yeah, it is actually all
Have we figured it out yet?
Yeah.
You just don't do anything until have 4 items as a mage. You just sit there and you just wait.
I don't know the right, so.
Yeah.
That's true, right. If we're about to go into what,
Yeah, like what Ben
9.7?
said. Yeah, mages, like, you pretty much do, like, nothing early game.
You just sit there and
Most
watch.
mages, that is,
Yeah. You're a little watcher.
So you're like hunters, but over in mid. You just farm up and eventually you deal damage, right?
Yeah, unless you.
Is that the idea?
Unless you face a hunter and then you're.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, which is definitely an option nowadays. Let's look at metas over the years then. What was everyone's favorite? I know Benny Q just starting out in mid. What was everyone's, if you can look back, favorite mid meta that you've ever played in past, present? I guess technically the update just came out, but over your careers, what was everyone's favorite mid meta?
I mean, I'm biased, but I like Season 4 meta
Yeah.
because of the old Doom Orb, where it was like risky, and then old Ratatouille, which was completely broken, and that
Right.
was nice. Yeah.
Shinto, what
I
was your
just
favorite
like
mid
the
meta?
Persephone meta when Persephone was a god. I think it was Persephone Merlin, something like that, the meta.
Yeah.
It was really fun for me.
Paul, favorite mid meta?
Yeah, I was looking back at old Worlds, season 5 Worlds, I think it was, and I couldn't believe how much damage mages were doing. It was actually, I'm like, a Vulcan backfire did like 30% of a tank's HP, and I'm like, nowadays, like you won them and it does like 10%, and they just heal it immediately. It's like, okay.
Oh, was that Soul Reaver with
Yeah,
percent then?
7% is for River.
It is crazy, yeah.
Benny Q, obviously, current meta is your favorite mid meta ever, right?
Well, before the time to kill change,
Right.
that was really fun.
Right.
True. Yeah.
What do you think makes a good mid meta? Do you think it's or I guess it changes as players, right? Do you think that having like character flexibility, like options as far as what you can play is making a good meta? Do you think dealing the most damage on the map makes a good meta? Farm around your lane, maybe a combination of all of it? What do you think in your mind makes like a perfect mid meta? I know some people love being flexible, picking different characters. Obviously,
nice.
dealing huge damage numbers is fun.
Yeah, I think it's nice to do damage before the 4 item mark. That's
Right.
what I would prefer.
Down with that.
Big fan of that.
Maybe like 2 items.
Be useful in early, for example. If you pick a mage, like be useful, like do something, fight something. Because right now, if you pick a mage, you cannot like fight
Right.
Yep.
most of the time.
So in an ideal world, are you guys playing mages in mid?
Yes.
Like, is
Yeah.
that the dream?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, what's going on? I mean, the ADCs have been playing a lot of mages here recently, so like we're still seeing mages.
Oh yeah.
They don't have red buff in dual lanes, so the hunters don't
True.
auto attack for 80 at level 1.
Is that a big thing, you
Yeah.
think, with red buffs and where they're placed?
They just have too much pressure.
Yeah, and with the Transcendent,
level
it's
1
really
to 3.
OP too,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
it's really good
And it's a
item.
farm lane over there in the dual lane. No one.
We love
it
farming,
just,
right?
It just sits there. They just sit there and farm.
That's what the ADC's favorite thing is to do. Kick back, farm it up. All right, we got like a ton of Twitter Q&A questions. We're going to go over some update stuff. So we'll go over some of that first. Piece of advice for new mid laners. If you guys were talking to people who just started playing the game, what piece of advice would you give to somebody who wants to try mid as their role?
Don't play me.
Yeah.
Don't play mages. If you are, go over to the duo lane.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's just more just like farming out and like know your rotations and
Sure.
everything. And then
Do you think that's a high skill gap, like learning to properly rotate things like that? How long do you think that
yeah, I would
took
say
you to
so.
grab on?
I
Yeah.
think most players struggle to farm correctly,
Yeah.
and then they also over-rotate, so they give up farm to rotate, and then they just bleed out.
Look, I love getting kills, but you got to stick around and farm up sometimes. Because we do often see that where like somebody will have like 3 kills, and they'll still be like a level down to the other dude who's just like hung around and farmed up
Yeah.
for a little while. Maybe a state of the game thing, but it shows you the value of hanging out and farming up. Paul, do you have any advice for a new mid laner?
I don't know, just get a good build, I guess. Because if you have like a bad mage build, man, like you don't buy like shard versus tanks, bro. You're gonna be like doing no damage. Like right now we do no damage, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
No shard, literally like 1% of their health per ability.
So, and Reaver, by Reaver.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
really.
Reaver. You
Yeah,
need
Soul
Shard
Reaver's
and
a must.
Reaver. Yeah.
Yeah,
Couldn't
kinda
tell you the
need
last time we
those.
didn't see that in the build.
Percent
Shinto,
health
you
damage.
sticking with what everyone else is saying?
Yeah,
Farm,
and pretty
build.
much to like try to hit your abilities, and
That's true.
I mean that's important in mage. If you need to hit those abilities, that's really important.
So do you think, I guess because it's a multi-pillared role, as any other role is, and over the years you've had to play different styles of characters, so like learning to farm, learning to rotate, building, hitting all your skill shots. Do you think one of those is like the most important? I mean, I guess if you miss all your skill shots, you're not going to be a very good mid. I guess maybe it all makes up the role. It's a bad question on my part. We'll move on.
Probably the most important thing would be the build part.
Okay, was a great question.
Yeah.
Stick to your guns, Dave.
Yeah.
So you think building is maybe the most important?
Probably, yeah. Like if you have a bad build, it doesn't matter.
Even if you hit everything,
Yeah,
right?
You still miss it. You still do no damage.
Can't be second guessing
It's like the
myself.
same, basically.
Yeah.
Why did everyone here choose mid as your role? We got some interesting answers across the different roles that we've had here. How did everyone here end up in mid?
Unfortunately, at this point, but I mean, I started in ADC and then
Yeah.
I just enjoyed mid more. It was kind of just more enjoyable overall.
What was the initial swap? Was it just like a ranked thing? Was it a team competitive
Yeah.
history thing?
Yeah, it was in season 2 in SEC versus like SOAR when we were at relegations, and we just needed to play mid, and I was like, okay, I'll play mid. And then I just ended up enjoying it. It's nice hitting like big damage numbers and doing big numbers.
Right.
but It's lackluster now with the big
We
numbers.
dream of
but
those days,
yeah,
right?
We do.
How about you, Paul? What started your mid journey?
So when I first started playing, I played Sun Wukong, which was Hunbats at the time, and then I stopped playing, and then a couple years later I came back, and he was Hunbats. So I'm like, all right, I'm playing Hunbats, bro. And so I just take him mid lane, and I'd get like 30 kills every single game when I was leveling up.
Right.
And then I started liking Joust a lot. And I think I just got like one shot by a mage ability at one point, and I'm just like, okay, I'm only playing mages from now on, dude. I've had enough of this. And so I played a ton of mages, and then if you played mages, that's kind of like mid lane, right?
Right.
So that's how I ended up here.
Now you're feeling bamboozled. You're like, where's the one shots, right?
So yeah,
That's a good
now
one.
I'm going back to another role, I guess.
that guy did a
Shinto,
lot.
what was your mid journey like?
Yeah, I was pretty much like Paul. I was back in the day play solo laner, and I always get watched out by the mage and say, nah man, I wanna play this. I wanna do like a lot of damage, man.
Right.
And then
Roll
I'm
tricks.
here and I cannot do damage anymore in this meta.
We got tricked.
I wanna-
Benny, can you round us out here?
Well, I played ADC for a few years.
Yeah.
And I just got bored of fighting for my purple buff. I'm like, so I wanted to get out of there, and yeah, I just started playing mid because it's pretty similar. You're a backliner.
Sure.
And also my favorite characters are like mages, so Purse, Merlin, and kind of just happened.
Well, at least Merlin can be played nowadays, right? We're seeing a little bit of Merlin.
Kinda.
Would you guys say, so I have seen some overlap here, like solo laners who love like the in-your-face warrior play style, and like any MMOs they've ever played, like that's the class they play. Do you guys play like mage style characters in other games that you play? Like, do you think that's just how you like to play video games?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Yep, pretty much.
Well, I only play Smite.
What are other video games? Shinto, were you on the New World grind for a little bit?
Yeah, I play a lot.
Were you fire staff in that game?
I'm playing WoW right now, but I'm playing Assassin at the moment. So
You need to change it up a
New
little.
World, yeah. I was playing Ice Gauntlet, Firestaff.
Oh yeah, in New
Dude,
World.
the amount of damage in Wars is crazy, dude. It's actually ridiculous.
Well, it's nice to go and deal some damage with some fire and some ice, you know. Merlin's not getting it done.
That's good. That's good.
Every once in a while I hit. All right, so over either right now or over the years, whatever it may be, who would you say, and maybe you can take it as non-mage or mage that's just out of the meta. If you had to play a non-traditional mid laner in mid, Benny Q, I'm sure you have plenty of answers for this. Who's your favorite non-traditional mid laner to queue up with in the mid lane? Maybe we'll say out of class, non-mage to play in mid. Or if your answer is like Opwash or something like that, you can say that because we haven't seen him forever.
So right now, I don't really have an answer, but a while ago, I really like playing set mid.
Yeah?
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, when did we see set mid? That wasn't that long ago. Maybe last year at some point.
I think it was
Season 6.
Yeah.
Right, on a
When it was
consistent
rising.
basis, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
Some
with Warriors
SEC team
Blessing.
tried it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Warriors Blessing. That was a good one. That was a good one.
Then, how about you? Any non-traditional mages or non-mage classes you like in mid?
Wukong's pretty fun to play.
Yeah.
Just cudgel people or like dunk on someone for like 900 late game with the ult.
Well, Aggro, and we'll talk about the update in a minute. Aggro talked about how Wukong mid like wrecked in some of his scrim and the play test. So maybe we're on the comeback in the most recent update. Shinto, how about you? Any unconventional picks in mid over the years that you really wish you could play
I
more
don't know,
often?
man, whatever tank, bro. I just want to be a tank right now in this meta, man. I want to be a tank and running it down, man.
You can play
But
tank in mid,
I don't know.
right?
I would say yeah, Jarm. Back in the days, I tried Jarm.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Your mid, would you full damage it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's what you have to, right?
Yeah.
Benny Q, your non-traditional mage pool has been, or mid pool has been discussed to the ends of the earth. Does one pick stand out that you enjoy the most?
All-time favorite, probably Tsukiyomi.
Yeah.
But right now, definitely Terra.
Terra in mid? Yeah. Tsukiyomi is a lot of fun to watch in mid. All right, so now it's the time that we've all been waiting for. We're going to do one more thing as far as my prepared questions. We'll do some Q&A, and then we'll talk about the update. I want to talk about the other roles with you guys. I'm going to say the name and either their tendencies, their propaganda, you know. We've had the other roles in here, and they've spread so much information, misinformation maybe about their roles, and we're going to combat some of that. So solo laners. When you think of a solo laner, good or bad? Maybe mid lane beef. I don't know if there's any beef between mid and solo laners, any tendencies you
If you
like
say
or
laner,
dislike?
I just think about the totem, and that's it.
Yeah.
You secure the totem, man.
That's all they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
you're not
right.
getting that
You guys
totem.
have a relation. You need the totem.
Yeah,
Right? The extra
we do.
mana and stuff that helps.
Yep.
So would you say mid has a good relationship with solo laners?
You need to.
It depends.
Is he getting totem?
Yeah, if you get in the queue, yeah, we have a good relation. If
Right.
not, we have a big
We're
problem.
gonna have some problems.
So you would say your relationship is totally dependent on
Totem.
queue security.
Yeah.
Got it.
Gonna be some big problems.
Would you say there's been solo lane propaganda being spread? Whether you think their lane is strong, weak? Do you think solo's in a good spot right now? Are they overpowered, underpowered? As a role, where do you think solo stands?
Probably OP.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
Yeah, tank. You know what I mean?
Right, it's a tank.
That's
So
fair. That's fair enough.
They can play ADC too. They're
True.
broken, man. They
put
can play
anything
whatever
over
they
Mages
want.
as well now.
They literally play whatever they want.
All right, so solo lane spoiled maybe,
Yeah.
but also in regards to you guys, you need the Q buff.
Yeah. They can be OP as long as they're getting coup.
Fair enough. Supports. What's the relationship between mid and support like? What do you think of when you think of the support role in relation to you guys?
If it's on the enemy team.
Stop taking my waves, man.
Yeah.
I was gonna say they hang out in mid a good bit, right?
They hang out too much with us. Too
Yeah.
much. Too much,
Go
man.
back to duo.
Right. Would you say that is the, I don't know if it's ranked, maybe unskilled supports, maybe a harsh way of wording it. Would you say supports, when they don't really know what to do, just default to sitting in mid and soaking up those
Yeah.
waves?
That's the worst thing.
And clearly it's got to be
Yeah.
obnoxious,
And then
right?
when you're soloing your red buff and ranked, and then your support just comes from the green
Oh,
buff and comes up
yeah.
and soaks it, I was like, dude, I just spent
Yeah.
like 20 seconds killing that, man. You did not have to split that.
Yeah.
Well, they needed their green, right? So supports, they leech your waves a good bit,
Yep.
but they come by and help with like ganks every once in a while, right? Supports can do
Depends.
some good in mid.
Some support are like just leeching everything
Yeah.
and you save game and just do something. Do something. Just
Yeah.
go in,
Get
suicide
active,
for
man.
me. Yeah.
Seriously, get active.
Just go and die
Aesthetic
for me,
support,
man.
Just stand there.
Right. Anywhere else. Well, you get wrong you in mid who just stealths his Surcat and
Yeah.
sits there for 10 minutes,
Yeah, I
right?
would run you. I'm chilling. Like,
Fair enough, you
hey,
have
run,
to,
you're
right?
gonna get this way, please.
Right.
Run you.
Yeah, look, supports will go over to solo lane every once in a while, but yes, their default is to hang out in mid a good bit.
Unfortunately.
Who's the role you're excited? We wanted to talk about junglers, so we'll save them for last. ADCs. Would you say you guys have beef with ADCs or not really? You're both backliners. You have to do similar things.
I think I kind of get it. I've been like playing hunters recently. Tanks are kind of just broken. I think
Yeah.
can't really crit them that hard. My autos, I mean,
So you stand with them as backliners.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the same boat as them.
I think when they're saying that their role is not OP, even though it's completely broken, that's when there's a problem here.
Right. Zap is the most vocal, maybe ADC.
Propaganda man.
The propaganda machine.
Zero propaganda.
And Shinto, you got to listen to that a lot. What do you think? You have Zap on your team. Do you feel a soft spot towards ADCs with Zap on the squad?
I
Or
mean,
not?
in a scrim, Zap is just, it's always like 0 and 10. Zap is just running it down always. I'm pretty much playing alone in the backline, so
Right.
I'm playing sometimes without ADC because someone is like diving tier 2 or doing like.
Of course, you're the one backliner, right?
Yeah.
Paul, what do you think about ADCs?
I mean, I don't know. I mean,
They're your backline
cool,
brothers.
man. I don't know. I guess so. I don't know, it's kind of a weird question for me.
Fair enough. We'll go to junglers. Jungle loves ganking mid. They hang out in mid a good bit in the early game now. Is there beef with jungle right now for mid laners? How do we feel about junglers?
A lot of them just don't know where to go.
True.
They,
They get
like-
lost.
Yeah, the back camps are up for like 3 minutes and they're just chilling with you, standing next to your mid wave. I mean,
Yep.
so many different things they could be doing, but they just choose to be like
In mid.
with you. Yeah.
Do you think junglers overemphasize, and this could be ranked or SPL, ganking, like opposing junglers? Do you feel like your lane is the most often ganked right now? Do you feel like you're constantly under jungle pressure and that adds into some animosity for that role?
There's a classic 3 in mid usually.
Sure.
When you're getting ganked. Yeah. I feel like you just watch sometimes.
Yeah, I guess your role is probably the most susceptible to like the why are there 4 people in my lane maybe?
Yeah.
Every once in a while it happens to ADCs.
Yeah, sometimes you just walk into mid and then there's like 4 there and you're like, I guess I'm just dead.
I guess I'm
mean,
dying,
I
right?
cannot
It's
return
not really
damage.
just the jungler. That's only if I'm like super greedy for like mid camps or something. But other than that, it's usually more than just the jungler.
Right.
You know,
There's got to be someone else there. All right, we'll move on to some fan Q&A here, and then we'll do a patch rundown here in a little bit. All right, this is an interesting one. So Potato Therapy asks, let's settle something across the league. Do mid laners like playing hunters or mages in mid? So I think we've said that we would prefer playing
Ages.
mages.
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy playing hunters at least?
Some of them.
Yeah, some hunters.
Does it
Yeah.
depend? Which hunters do you like versus dislike?
I
X-Ball's
love-
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Uller too. Uller's
Yeah, Uller.
really fun.
Yeah,
Uller.
Uller.
Uller kind of bridges that gap, though, right?
He's
You're
like a
casting a
mage.
lot as
Yeah.
Uller.
He's
Yeah.
like a mage.
Uller is like a mage, yeah.
I think the biggest thing is when you have the option of going to the hunter, not just like it's just
Yeah.
You have to
perma
play
meta,
hunter.
and then you're sad at that point once
Right.
that happens.
Where does AMC fall on the fun scale?
MC is so fun. You
Unfun?
pick MC and they're gonna pick double Diane Morrigan or something like that, man, and that's not fun, man.
Yeah, but Stinger hurts, right?
Xintian
That's
too, no, that's not fun.
good. All right. I thought AMC would rank a bit higher, but we'll.
I mean, I love it. It's funny.
He was fun, but then like once you play it too much.
Yeah, once you spam it, then it's
Oh,
like
guys,
okay, I
we need
really.
to pick AMC for pressure. Dude, come on.
Again,
Yeah.
again, right.
Really, guys.
Guess we're running it back. you know?
Unlucky. All right, so this one gives you some gas. Being the most handsome of roles, as well as the most talented, why do you guys think mid is the most fun role? Or do you think mid is the most fun role?
Some parts of it
Yeah.
are fun.
I think
What is the most
once you
fun
get into the
part?
late game,
Yeah.
or like
Yeah.
late mid game,
When you
late game,
start doing like damage, like
Yeah.
big numbers and all that stuff,
Right.
it's really fun.
yeah,
It depends on which character you're picking.
And I feel like the
Yeah.
characters are really fun too. There's a lot of characters
Yeah,
that are really fun
definitely.
in Mage.
Right.
like the mechanics in them,
Yeah.
like Merlin and stuff, like multiple.
Mhm.
Like he's the first multiple ability stance, was right? He's like nine abilities.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
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 Like, I wish I was good at Merlin. That is just such a fun, like, flow style of
Oh,
kit.
it is so fun to play.
I'm
man.
just-
He
It's
was
actually
so fun when he first came out.
good. He was so
I spammed him. So yeah, he was so OP.
Yeah.
I'm just
the,
so
the
bad.
fire would literally one,
One
shot,
shot,
the
yeah.
dragons on the ground, and then they like gutted it at one point. But
Yeah,
they buffed it up a bit now.
the 2% prot shot as
Yeah,
well
it
on
was-
objectives
oh,
and
man, it
everything.
was
You just
fun.
one shot everything.
Yeah.
You just watch it die.
My goodness. What percentage of the time are you in fire stances Merlin nowadays?
2%.
FCC, you're probably never in a.
When you need to do a objective, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Use burn
Probably very
objective.
little.
That's it.
You'll fire
Actually,
hands a little bit.
prefer starting fire so I can burst with other stances.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But, like, team fight wise, probably,
Probably
not super
never.
active.
yeah.
Yeah, we got a question about what roles you used to play, but we already covered that. Fred Lucha wants to know, Shinto, where do you get all your farm from?
Just hitting minion, man. I'm just hitting minions and that's it. Hit
Right.
minion and say to my teammate, don't split with me. Sometimes. Right now I'm not doing it anymore, but back in the days.
Have you scaled how much farm you steal from Panatom back? Do you take less from Panatom nowadays?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not take less, but Panirom is like speed farming everything, like
Right.
quick.
Got it. So, last hitting waves, making sure no one steals his farm. All right, this is actually a pretty technical question. How do you know where the enemy mid is? I feel like when I force a mid to back and then I farm and then back, suddenly the enemy mid never goes back to mid and ends up ganking someone else as I'm leaving lane. So I think all of that to say, how do you feel like you can keep track of the enemy mid laner?
It's a lot of just keeping track of their jungle timers and wave manipulation as well.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I could get deep into this, but it's just like,
I mean, it depends too. If there's like, I don't know, the high level mages, for example, the high level mid laners, you know what they're gonna do. But for example, if you play versus, I don't know, fucking master mid laner, they
Yeah.
can do random shit, man. They can do like,
there's a pattern.
They'll be like level 3 and they're in duo.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess he's there. That's fine.
Because I feel like that is like a ranked pitfall that every once in a while mid laners will fall into, where like I see my dude go back, and then instead of coming back to lane, they immediately go to duo or
Yeah.
something, get a kill there, and then I get yelled at
That's
for.
just so incorrect.
Yeah. It is just a bad play if they end up doing that. Like you just farm
But then
and
I
then
get yelled
nobody
at.
wins.
It's dumb. But I agree.
Yeah.
You heard it here, teammates. I was bad on the
Yeah.
other mids part.
Let
Now I'm
them
ahead,
do
right?
that. Have fun.
All right, we've seen this all over Twitter. Biakai wants to know if you guys support bun hats as a
No.
skin. You're a no.
Yeah, stop tweeting, dude.
All right, so we're off the
Don't know
bun
what
hat
that
train.
is. Literally no clue what that is.
no,
I think it's just a skin where he wants like a Baker Hunbat skin, like with a bun hat instead of Hunbats.
That's gotta be bad.
Why?
That's gotta be bad.
Just because it's bun hats?
It was gun Kepri and bun hats for a while, and now that the Kepri thing has happened, it's just down to bun hats because I guess
I
it's
mean,
probably
whatever
happen at
skin
some
is
point,
cool. Whatever skin is cool.
I guess it's okay. I don't know.
they're indifferent. They're indifferent.
I'm just
Buddy,
no,
sorry.
'cause it's by
Yeah, I don't know.
I have to keep seeing it, dude.
True.
I don't know how serious this is or not, but Zaza is asking, why are people doing red and then going over to speed? Save my lobbies, please. Is that a thing?
Yes.
Yeah. There's 2 different starts that you can do right
Is that the correct start?
Depends.
Yeah, it just
Two good
depends.
start.
Yeah.
Would you? That probably requires communication and ranked, right? If this person is
Well,
playing
if-
with random teammates.
usually if you're losing the 2v2, you do the red start, so you don't lose your back camps
Right.
after the first wave.
There you go. You want to get technical with your ranked teammates? Communication. Do you guys want 15 flat pen on the spears again?
I actually don't even. It wouldn't even do anything now.
I don't think you would
With
even
the
buy it. Yeah.
with the life change, or like the update.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
You don't have mana. You need MP5
Yeah.
in your items.
I don't think it would matter.
I'm
Well,
not sure
it
how much
would be
it would
little.
impact.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
What would it be? 6 more flat pen? I mean, it would help a little bit versus like
Yeah.
divers and stuff, but
It would
I mean, it
help.
would be nice. It would
Yep.
just be a nice change.
Yeah.
of
I
play.
He
think
might
it
be
should
playable.
probably.
It should probably be 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Deso and stuff is a little weak at
Yeah.
12. I don't know. It's weird, man.
Yeah, it's a hard item balance. It's been
Well,
all
no,
over
I
the
mean, you
place.
would never not want
Oh
just,
yeah, no,
like
I
just
mean,
additional
stats.
flat
Yeah,
pen.
true.
Sure, why not?
if you want to buff it, go ahead.
Yeah, please.
No one's complaining.
I just don't think it would be as big of a change as
Right.
people would
Yeah,
think.
as it used to
Yeah.
be.
All right, another question. Which one of you guys at this table is the best Raijin tour?
Not me.
Raijin Tour.
Who lands Raiju the best out of this table?
That's probably not me. My drum has been lost
I don't know, dude.
ever since he's
Who
been.
knows,
That's
man?
between.
No one
You
is
used to
great.
play a lot of Raijin at the
Yeah, but
SPL.
no one plays that god anymore.
Yeah, what
so
happened to
I don't
Raijin?
He's
We
so
just
good.
got-
he
he
got-
got-
he got
just
gutted.
they just
It was
killed him.
Raijin like
But-
every game.
But
too.
to be
Yeah,
fair, yeah.
he was meta for like what,
He
4
was
years, 5.
So meta, so long.
Drum man, he just never left.
He was pretty fun though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's
fun.
They did gut him.
Right.
His ult,
See you
I
later,
played him
dude.
recently. And my ult was doing like 200 damage, like,
Yeah,
and I was
it's
like, dude, I
so
cannot do
bad.
Well,
damage.
did he have Obshard and Soul
Oh
Reed?
yeah, no, yeah. You just watch, like
Right.
you're drumming, but it ain't doing damage.
Yeah, not much.
Dude, I love his like gorilla skin, dude.
Yeah,
Dude, I just want to say something real quick.
yeah, please.
One time I was scrimming, right? And I had a sore throat, so I wasn't talking. And I picked Raijin with the monkey skin, and I was just VGSing, and it was super troll. Oh, gold. Oh, oh.
Yeah, just like those sounds, right?
So troll, man. It was so funny.
I'm sure the
That's
squad
actually
loves that. I'm sure the team was big
I
fans.
think it might have been versus, was that Space? Yeah, Space Station, right? I think it
yeah.
was when
Back in
we
the
scrimmed a
day,
bunch.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that year.
That was so funny, man.
Two birds with one stone, Paul. Not only did you not have to talk, but you annoyed your teammates a little bit.
It was
or
so
something.
funny, man.
There may be a clear answer for this. Which mid laner, actually, we'll spread this out to the entire league. Which mid laner goes the deepest for kills in the league?
Goes the deepest, like gets in there.
Yeah, like,
Like die for the kill or
Yeah, dive,
Oh.
dive for the kill, lays it all out on the line. Maybe depends on
tough
God pick,
Yeah, I was thinking God pick. Like,
Yeah.
Mori, obviously, you'd be going in a lot.
right? I'm
Most
voting.
consistent getting in there, probably.
I was gonna say, I thought Benny.
Yeah, maybe Benny.
Yeah, you kind of do get in there.
True.
Respectfully. I like that.
Respectfully,
Yeah.
Oh, this one's for Ven, and we're quoting Jake as well. So Ven, Jake has said you guys are a bunch of vanilla Andes when it comes to role swaps. Any chance you'd give it a go?
No,
No,
I don't want to.
no.
Yeah.
gonna
Actually,
stick
I
with
mean,
mid.
maybe at this point, I mean, supports are OP.
You'd swap with Jake?
Yeah, I mean,
How
at this
how
point,
effective do you think a role swap with Jake would work? And I think that
honestly,
speaks to his ability in mid.
I've seen it, unfortunately. I'd probably just put him on Nuwa or something, just let him like won the waves and just sit there and do nothing.
Jake. I think Jake is gonna run it down in mid. Jake is gonna run it down in mid.
True.
Well, look, he gets his chance, right? He's
Yeah,
gotta
he
go for
does.
it.
He does get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you had, if everyone here at this table had to put their support in mid, would you stick him on Nuwa? Is that the just spam your ultimate style of pick?
I'd give Gamma Scylla, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's his best god by a mile.
Yeah, I would put Ronjo like an Aura or something. Like just farm. Just
You
farm.
said maybe Nuwa. Who would you stick a roar on in mid if you had to make a role play pick?
I don't know, dude. Maybe like Zeus or something, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Just drop the ultimate and
He loves
and
Zeus
spam
somehow.
his detonate. This one's from Fine OK. He gets some coups for his squad, so we don't have too much beef with Fino. There's a two-parter. I'll ask the first one first. What is the best fruit? If you had to eat one fruit, what would it be?
Watermelon.
What'd you say?
Watermelon.
Watermelon's a great fruit.
For me, peach.
Oh, peach is also good.
Yeah.
Especially here in Georgia, you get some top-tier peaches.
True. Cantaloupe.
Wrong answer, but I'll accept it, Ben.
I don't know. Apple, man. I don't know.
Apple, that's a good fruit.
I don't eat fruit, so.
I love fruit, but I hate cantaloupe, like honeydew. I just can't do it.
I'm a fan
I know
of
some
oranges
people love
as
it.
well.
What's that?
Oranges.
Oh, yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
up there.
Oranges are great.
Fresh cantaloupe, it's just juicy, you know?
You're
Just gotta
right.
go for
Look, and I'll never yuck someone's yum. But,
Pineapple's pretty good, too.
it. Ooh,
pineapple
yeah.
also top tier. Are there bad fruit? Well, for me, honeydew and cantaloupe. I don't know if there's fruits as a category may just be
Top tier.
top tier.
Yeah.
As far as the misses in the fruit category.
There's a lot of good fruits there.
Are there any misses? I don't think there are. I feel like
Right? Like veggies, I think, have a lot more
like
misses
a
in my
hard
mind.
miss.
Right.
Because they could be
That's
like
true.
whatever,
Right.
but none of them really like suck.
True.
All right, fruit, top tier food category. And then this next one, if aliens invaded us and we could only send one SMITEPro to talk them, not like fight, but to talk them out of zapping the earth, who do you think you would send up?
Zapman? That
Yeah,
guy's a
propaganda,
propaganda. He would sell it.
You think Zap would do a good job? with
I'm all in
yourself?
on Steve.
Yeah.
I will say Mike for the quote he has. The
Yeah.
alien word is.
All right, so Mike or Zap potentially would save the earth. So thanks, fine, okay, for your questions. Who's the most likely to pull off Ymir mid? Could be at this table or in the league in general. Maybe that's where Jake would.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
yeah. Jake or genetics? Oh, Ronnie as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
Good for
any of
you,
the any of the supports, right?
Yeah, they do love that. That
I'm
little
a
ice
vote
cube.
for myself.
Yeah, you think you can make?
I
You've been
would say
throwing
Benny.
Terra mid out there. Yeah, I guess if we had to stick with mid laners, Benny would probably get
Yeah.
voted.
Diamond Arrow Ymir.
I'm buying in. All right, a couple more here, and then we'll talk about the new update and get into that. Biggest pet peeve while you're playing mid lane?
Support splitting with me.
Support splitting your
Just
way.
standing there and
I
watching.
think junglers playing with me when they stand there for the third wave instead of doing their back camps.
Oh, the backhand thing? Yeah, that is true.
I can't think of anything on the top of my head besides of what Ven said when you're clearing the red, man. Like pretty much, let's be honest, pretty much the mini gold theory at this point.
Yeah.
That thing
That's
swings.
true.
Okay,
Yeah.
like literally gold theory, man. You've been killing it for about 15 seconds, and you see your support in the
See
minimap.
the icon.
You're trying to clear it as quickly. Auto attack for 30, 30,
And you
30,
can.
32 gold. Okay, man.
He turns around and goes right to green
Yeah,
as well.
no mana.
He's like, help, help, I'm green.
Help, you rock. Cancel that.
Right, like at least be, like if you're gonna take it, at least be there for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. Shinto, are all of those your pet peeves? Or do you
Yeah,
have-
pretty much the same. Like the supporters split everything and BFK in the game. Pretty much.
The same person, this tranquilized me on Twitter. How many holes does a straw have? Was their second question.
Ooh.
I think it's just got one. Right? Just one hole all the way through?
Yeah, so I think
That's
one.
my take.
Yeah, one as well.
You think they're produced with like just like one long tube and they just cut? Well,
Honestly,
if you
yes.
cut, if you cut, yeah. I
But
mean,
if you cut on either end,
technically are getting 2 holes there.
my vote's for one straw
Those
hole.
have 1 hole there in theory.
Right.
It just goes through. So.
Is water wet?
No, not again.
Benny, what do you think? How many holes does a straw have?
I think it is just one.
It is one.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
Shinto, you voting for one?
Yeah, one. I don't know where.
It's not a hard question.
Yeah.
All right, we'll ask one more. Let me pick out a good one. That's a stupid question, so I'm not going to ask that. All right. What are some of the weirdest or craziest ways you've ever died in Smite? And I'm going to ask that as the question, but I will say the subtext here is why was it your jungler's fault? So we're immediately blaming the junglers, but do you guys have any weird or crazy dying stories in Smite?
So when Heimdall first came out, he had a really bad bug with his ult that you would get sent to the Shadow Realm pretty much if you got Kumba ulted, or it was a Neja or Kumba ult. When you got Heim ulted, you would literally just go off into the sky and be executed by yourself or
I do
something.
remember
Yeah.
that.
So
yeah.
I got sent to the Shadow Realm one time. So
Got it.
Oh,
Send
you
to the
just
chat
go
room.
straight up.
Yeah.
You just float all the way up. Yeah, I actually remember
I
that.
mean, you guys have played so much Smite. You've had to see some
Yeah,
some weird stuff over the years.
Yeah. Or like when you get like high multi and then you get stuck on top of like the
Oh,
invisible
yeah,
wall
yeah.
and
I'm
you're just like
sensing a
there.
theme here
Yeah.
with Heimdall.
Yeah.
I think the worst time that I've died was when I was trying to Mori transform and then I couldn't transform, but my animation was just me jumping up and down because I was just spamming it, and then nothing happened and I just died.
You
And I
just
was like,
died?
Yeah.
Did you get to respawn and come back?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, good. Didn't
Yeah.
take you out of the game entirely.
Oh yeah, I stayed in there, but that was rough.
Oh, I mean, look, if you think about it, you might have died in a team fight anyway.
True.
Depends how long you were jumping. Like if a
I
whole
was
team
jumping for
fight
a
had
long
happened,
time.
oh, okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
not worth.
Sometimes you just watch and you can't transform, and
Right.
you're like, well,
Yeah, unlucky.
I'm lucky.
You two over here, any crazy dying stories that come to mind?
I remember about probably like fell off of the map or something.
Just took a
Oh,
stroll
when you
off.
could Janus all backwards, like in,
that
out of the
has
mount,
happened.
yeah.
In our base. Janus.
Janus ult out of your fountain.
Yeah.
or
Or
something.
the what's it called, the Chiron Thorns Kepri combo, when you get
Oh,
one shot.
yeah.
when you
The
one
one
shot
shot
someone.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Um, has anyone here died in an SPL game to a jungle camp or a neutral monster or anything like that?
Nope.
No.
There's a lot of junglers doing that nowadays.
I'm
Figures.
surprised I haven't died of the red buff. Yeah,
Right.
That's a thing
Honestly,
scary.
with how hard that thing hits,
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time, right?
It is.
A support's gonna pump fake you, not actually come help, and that'll be that.
Yeah.
All right, thanks everyone for sending in your Q&A. We're gonna dive a little bit into the update here. We'll stick with the glyphs and that sort of stuff that I think affects mid, and we'll talk about how impactful it may or may not be. So, this speaking of mids coming to mid, or supports rather coming to mid and hanging out for your farm, they're upping the lowest level shared XP bonus, so you get a little bit more shared XP. And the mid harpies are now increasing the base XP reward from 28 to 34, and the mid small harpy is going from 16 to 18. The change was put in place with supports in mind. Do you think that changes your life at all?
Oh, I'm glad that the sports were in mind with that change, not the mid laners.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I will say, to be clear, the wording is the increased shared XP bonus will help support mains at all skill levels, and the increased XP from mid harpies will help the supports. Oh, and mids in
Yeah, of
parentheses
Yeah.
that are on time for contestable farm. So, do you think the increased XP in mid harpies?
Yeah, I think it helps
Is
a
a-
little bit. I know sometimes you run into scenarios where like you're kind of like just like 1 XP off of like
Right.
5 and stuff like that. So it does help a little bit in the early game. I think it gets you like, from like what I've played in ranked, I think
Right.
it just gets you 4 earlier for the red, if I remember correctly, or something
Sure.
like that, the second red spawn. But it doesn't really do too
Not
much.
game changing
Yeah, no,
necessarily.
no,
Very little.
Helpful. All right, there are a bunch of glyph changes,
Mm-hmm.
and those I am excited to talk about. Because you guys have been playing some hunter, some ability-based hunter in mid, I do want to talk about the Yotens glyph a little bit. So Vigor, still around, still unchanged, but Yotens Cunning, every time you damage an enemy god with an ability, you gain a stack of Wit. At 2 stacks, your next non-ultimate ability that damages an enemy god gets 25% of its cooldown instantly refunded. So on occasion, you guys are building Jotens-style mid laners, I suppose, depending on what character you're playing. Do you think Jotens Cunning suddenly becomes a valuable glyph upgrade for Jotens Wrath, if you're ever building it?
Uller, maybe?
Yeah, I think it's fine, but on the gods that you end up getting it, like once your abilities get like lower cooldown, it's like technically less meaningful because
guess that's
they're already
true.
pretty close.
25%,
But
yeah.
yeah, I mean it helps, right? Like if you want a little extra CDR, but like at the point that you like probably hit it, it's already probably on like a 2-second cooldown. So
Right. Do you
it
think
removes,
that's
like-
enough of a buff or an increase that suddenly now increases the viability of those types of gods in mid or ADC?
Yeah,
I
it probably
suppose,
just
like-
helps overall junglers, I think, just
Right.
when they're missing that like little CDR thing. Because you
Yeah,
sometimes
with the
it can be
Bumbas,
hard.
with the Bumbas nerf, I think they nerf like 10 CD. With
Yeah.
that item, it's gonna be good.
Right. Rod of Tahuti did get, so Calamitous still around. It is now Perfected Rod of Tahuti is another glyph. And that is successfully damaging an enemy god with an ability. Applies a mark for 3 seconds. Damaging them a second time with another ability consumes the mark and provides you a 10% movement speed for 2 seconds and reduces your non-ultimate abilities by 1.5 seconds. Only one mark can be active at a time, cannot be applied for 10 seconds after consuming a mark. How good is this glyph, do you think, for mids?
I don't know. I haven't even tried.
I can't even get to Rod
Yeah.
in my build. I'll be
But
honest.
that item is
That thing's far
probably
away.
not worth buying.
Yeah,
To be
Yeah.
honest,
I agree. I mean,
too expensive.
3,600 with the glyph, right?
Yeah,
120 power, by the way.
Yeah, 120
120
power.
power.
I don't think Rod's that good of an item. So
Yeah, it's just so hard to build.
I'd probably
Yeah.
not buy this item at all.
Right, so that's the question. Do you think, are you buying Rod more often now with this glyph, or are you seeing Rod prioritized at the same rate?
not
I think if it
worth.
was better statted, you would buy it.
100.
Because it
Because
would just be better.
You're not going to
but
buy it just for that glyph, you know.
It's just kind of hard to want to buy 3,600 gold worth of
10%
something.
move speed for
2 seconds?
2 seconds.
2 seconds.
Oh my god. First item.
And then
And your
1.5 CDR.
1.5 CDR, yeah?
It would be nice for that. But
It would be nice if the price was reduced or
Yeah,
something.
100%.
I guess there's a lot, I mean, because we've seen the like movement Bumbas hammer style builds in mid a good bit. I don't know if have we seen Rod of Tahuti in those builds at all. I mean, it's been a lot of like Toxic Blade.
I did it once
Bumbas.
because I was tilted.
Yeah.
I was like, whatever, I'm back.
So when
in.
tilt factor kicks in,
Yeah.
maybe we're swinging for perfected Rod of Tahuti. We'll move on to Bancrofts Talon. So 2 glyphs on this one now. And the first one we'll talk about is the Nimble Bancrofts Talon. So it's basically just inheriting Nimble Rod of Tahuti. For every 40 magical power you have, you gain 2% attack speed. So pretty simple. In what world do you see yourself building this style of item, picking up this glyph? Do you think you will?
Magical LECs, pretty
yeah,
much.
I think, I mean, it's just better for magical ADCs, especially
Right.
now that it's cheaper than the Road of 2D purpose. But
Probably feels good on all around. You get your crit right away
Yeah.
as well.
Is this something you could see you guys, I suppose, if you're playing magical ADCs,
yeah, it's
swinging towards?
Yeah, it's a
I guess
pretty
you're
nice
building
change.
Bancrofts anyway, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty nice change for them. Just to help them out.
All right, so pretty simple. Thumbs up on Nimble Bancrofts Talon. Bancrofts Claw is every 15 seconds. This one's a little bit longer. Every 15 seconds, gain a stack of Hunger, maximum of 3. Abilities cast within 30 units of enemy gods consume that stack, dealing bonus damage equal to 0.5% of their max HP for each 75% or 75 rather magical power you have. And you get a shield, but cannot exceed 35% of your max HP. So if we're worried about tanks, right? I mean, this is a percent health-based bit of damage. Do you think Bancroft's Claw ever is a glyph that we're running towards on this item tree?
When I tested it out in jungle practice, it was pretty cool. I think it goes like with current mage builds. I think it's like 9% to 12% for your shield. So that's per person diving you, and it's just you don't even have to hit anyone. It's just like on button activation.
Right.
It just does it in
It's
AoE.
at 30, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're getting dove by like 2 people, then you instantly get a 24% health shield.
Right.
So that's really nice. I didn't really see impact in the like the percent health damage.
Yeah,
Right.
It was
It's kind
low.
of-
It was like I think it was like 80 to a
Yeah,
tank.
it's kind of like nulled.
Right.
Almost.
Yeah.
But especially with Bumbas hammer,
Still
you
like
obviously
it's,
just heal that.
it's a decent glyph.
Yeah.
I think it'll feel good on certain gods. But
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't just buy Bancrofts just for that glyph.
Yeah,
You
no,
just,
it's hard.
Your god that's good with Bancrofts. then-
Yeah. It's just like the curve can be a little rough because it ends up being 3100,
Right.
so it can kind of mess up your kind of curve. But
Well, I wouldn't upgrade it till late. just
Yeah,
'cause
later
still-
on
it
it's much
scales
better.
Really
Yeah.
good.
But an option if you want Bancrofts on a non-magical.
yeah, it's pretty
ADC, I
unique.
suppose.
I like it though.
Yeah.
It's a cool
Yeah,
change.
it's cool.
Yeah.
And it looks awesome, so
True.
Bancroft's Claw, we do love that. We could talk about the Executioner stuff a little bit. Again, there have been some hunters in mid. And so, Executioner getting 2 glyphs. First of the 2 is the Ferocious Executioner, which is inheriting the Yotens ferocity, right? Your next basic attack marks an enemy god. If you hit the marked enemy or the marked enemy hits you with it a basic attack, you gain 1 stack. Each stack gives you increased damage towards the enemy, stacking up to 10 times. What's our initial take on this glyph? I suppose as mid laners or just maybe meta changing in the SPL. Do you think this is one we see a lot?
Yeah, I mean, they built the item anyway, unlike the mage items. Like
Right.
those items don't get built and they get those cool things on them.
Pretty sure
then-
that item is really good, but it's better for junglers, for mannequin junglers if you like.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a pretty cool item man, to have.
It's really good.
Do you think? Well, I guess we see. Do we even see? I'm trying to think how often we see hunters building executioner right now.
I think it's on and off. I
yeah.
think they kind of like cycle. It depends on what you need out of it.
Right.
So
Yeah, so maybe more jungle focused, potentially ADC focused. I don't know if you guys are even building a lot of executioner in mid.
Not really.
sometimes you end up doing it, but barely.
So this one does not change mid hardly at all. But maybe your best friend's the jungle. Feel a little bit better against you guys. And then the other executioner glyph, the heavy executioner. Passive now, basic attacks against the enemy reduce their physical protections by 17.5% for 3 seconds. And attack speed is capped at 1.75. So,
That's rough.
big
attack speed being
physical
capped.
proc reduction, but your attack speed capped.
Yeah, that actually cap is rough.
Yeah, I
Because
think
people are gonna build like Witchblade, Midgardian, and you don't gonna
true.
have attack speed pretty much.
Yeah.
also, I mean, I'd argue that more attack speed is just more damage anyway.
Yeah.
Because you're
Yep.
just hitting them more.
I don't know how often, even on the hunters, like you play them in like Ulurs and stuff, if you even get to that point. But
Is that a storm?
Uh-oh.
yeah,
Or is that somebody on the roof? My goodness, if you guys at home couldn't hear that, that was absurd. Zeus is unhappy at the moment. Anyway, heavy executioner. Our initial thought was a little oof on this. Are we not expecting to see much of this
I mean,
item?
the passive is really good, but
Yeah.
the fact that
Passive is
cap
crazy.
your attack speed is make you
I mean,
bad,
well,
I think.
I saw Genetics do it on her support, so maybe it's.
oh, there you go.
maybe
There's a lot of value in
I
that.
haven't tested this. I don't know, to be
Yeah.
honest.
TBD. One of the really popular items, actually, and we saw mids build it every once in a while, Magis Cloak. Magis Cloak now getting a couple glyphs as well. First of the two is the Magis Shelter. So whenever your passive is consumed, the nearest allied god within 25 units gains protection from a single hard crowd control effect for 5 seconds. If this passive is consumed before time runs out, they gain 1 second of crowd control immunity. So we've seen a lot of supports building. Oh, it's been a lot of maybe Spirit Robe that I'm thinking of. Magis Cloak every once in a while we'll see get picked up. Jungle, something like that.
So you can go five of that of that, or what? 5 Magis in your team?
You think that's strong
That
enough to
works?
have everyone grab one?
That works or not?
I see what you're saying.
I think it's just the first person, and then it bounces just one, right?
Yeah,
And then it
whenever you're
stops,
past
I
the
think.
nearest allied god gains protection.
It's one bounce.
Yeah, I think it's just one bounce. I could be wrong in that thing.
I believe it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if it bounced everyone, that'd be.
Yeah.
Everyone has a bubble.
Just
Everyone
one
a
bounces,
bubble.
is what I've been told. So if everyone has one, it doesn't
so
bounce to
should do
people.
Okay. Yeah.
So I guess it would just consume it on you. Do we think that we start seeing a lot more Magis Cloak with this upgrade?
From playtesting, when we playtested it before
Yeah.
it was released, I think it was just too small of a radius where
Yeah.
you really wouldn't get the value.
25
But,
units, not big.
once it bounced, there was no CC that was coming anyway, so it would just be
I
on the
don't
person
know.
would go.
And
right?
with Bellona in the meta, I don't know, Bellona is just gonna treat you and
Yeah, just get rid of
Done.
it. Yeah.
gone.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
So
Probably,
maybe.
probably wouldn't buy this one. My opinion.
And then the alternative Magis Cloak glyph is the Magis Revenge, which will be the first enemy god to hit you with crowd control while you are protected, so while you have the bubble on, becomes marked for 5 seconds. And those marked enemy gods cause enemy gods to move 40 oh my goodness. Gods marked for revenge cause enemy gods within 40 units to move 20% faster towards them and take 10% increased damage. So if you hard crowd control me, suddenly I can move faster to you and deal more damage to you. As mid laners, we love doing more damage. I don't know if it's something you guys would pick up just for the increased damage, but maybe having it on your team, support, something like that.
I think I would just buy another damage item.
Yeah,
I think for
man.
most mages, you'd probably skip Magi's.
Yeah,
I think it would be nice for a support to try.
Mm-hmm.
You might see some people test it out or whatever just to increase your damage around you, but outside that, I mean, you're probably not going to slot it in.
right. Yeah, not into your builds.
Yeah.
Do you think as mid laners, you feel like this say it's on a support. I mean, I guess more damage is never a bad thing, right? Do you imagine this change? Like, is this something you get the feeling that supports, tanks, frontliners, junglers?
Yeah,
will
I
start
think it
picking
could
up?
be interesting. There might be some stuff with like Magi's Revenge and then the War Flag that also increases your
Right.
damage by 10%. So you might get 20% in a team fight or something. Something
Right.
fun like that, maybe. You might see people mess around with that.
God, there's a good bit here. I don't want to go all the way in on the masks. I do want to talk briefly about the earrings, and then I'll send you guys on your way. So masks in general now are starter items. I mean, there is so much as far as passives, cowardice, things like that. From what you guys have seen, maybe at a high level, masks have really started to kind of take over certain roles right now at the SPL level. From the mask changes from what you've seen, do you think masks will remain impactful, less impactful? Starter items definitely change that dynamic up a little bit. What's the read on the mask in the new updates?
I think ranked is really hard to get, considering it increases the damage you take.
Right.
Once you're in, you're probably dead.
Right.
The Lonos might. I can see like tanks using that or like other roles using it, but yeah, I mean, I was just more testing for that stuff. I think for like, what I've seen, I've seen people just skipping it, to be honest.
I mean, there's with the like cowardice stacks and the like weakness stacks, like that sort of stuff. I guess in aggro is the one who's kind of going over this on the update show, kind of balances some of that out.
Yeah,
but,
it does. Once it's upgraded, it's fine. It's just kind of
getting there.
to that point.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so I agree. I think that there's going to be a lot of data collection on masks, and there's going to be one SPL pro who's just got to figure it out, and he comes in with some mask style.
You got to run it.
It's just game over.
Little gamba.
All right, so new item tree entirely, and this will round out our chat here. The earring item tree. So tier 1 earring, it's got some. We're looking at fighter's mask there, and I guess they're going to run through it a little bit. Yes, the passive increases damage dealt, increases damage taken. And I think it was Rangda's, which is the upgrade from the fighter's mask, that you said actually feels maybe okay once we get there. Sorry, production. I'm going to move on to the earrings here since mask is still in testing phase. So let's look at tier 1 earrings. At tier 1, 400 gold, and you get 15 MP5 on the earring.
Huge.
Is this a value item for you guys in the mid lane?
I mean, not really. Not really.
It is nice with a little mana, but I think other items just kind of do it.
It's a T1, right? So
It is a tier 1.
depends on what item you're trying to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there are 4 tier 3 items on this tree. So tier 1, it's always going to be a little bit smaller, 400 gold. You get the mystical earring for 15 MP5. The next upgrade you can get, one of the tier 2s, is the gleaming ear cuffs, which will eventually build into something else, obviously later on in a tier 3. You get physical power, magical power, attack speed, and the MP5 from the tier 1 item. Do you see any
I feel
situations
like
in this?
that tier 2 is really good.
Yep.
There's a lot of
interesting.
stats.
Statted, for 1300.
Yep.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
What styles of mids do you think this works on?
That's magical ADCs, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, magical ADCs with the attack speed, I suppose.
Yep.
And then I'll look at the other tier 2 production before we get into the tier 3s. The Jeweled Studs is a 1,400 gold item that, of course, builds into Sphinx's Bauble. This one a bit different. You don't get the attack speed. You get the 30 physical power, 50 magical power, 10% CDR, and 20 MP5 for 1,400 gold. Do you feel like this is a value item? CDR feels good.
Stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are nut stats.
How come the mage items are always more expensive than the physical side of things? Yeah. Like the
I don't know. We
attack
should
rate?
drop it down a bit.
Yeah,
like
give it to the
half of it.
Well, look,
1300.
it's a jeweled stud, man. There's
come on,
there's
I mean-
jewels in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
10% CDR feels good. Get the MP5. In line with other tier 2 items in mage builds right now. Do you think stronger, weaker, on par?
Really strong.
Yeah, that's a nice stat for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That might
Jeweled
be
stud.
overstated for 1400.
Oh, you're talking yourself out of a good
Yeah,
item.
come on.
Listen.
But you gotta buy the bauble. So.
You got to buy the bauble, right?
Or you can sell it.
And then the final tier 2 item in this tree is the rose spike earrings, which has a couple tier 3s that it can build into. Compared to the other ones, this one a bit slower on the power stats, but has 200 health, 15 MP5, and 15 HP5. So cheaper by 200 gold, but you lose some of the CDR, little MP5, the power. Do you feel like this is as strong as the other items, weaker,
I mean,
situational?
That's for supports,
Yeah.
Supports, I suppose, right?
very much.
I think it's just a nice branch because I think
Yeah.
it branches into the two cheap
Yeah,
ones,
the
right?
two
Yeah.
cheaper options. Do you think, through a support lens, this is something we could see a little bit of?
Yeah,
like whatever.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
probably.
can see
If you're-
branching. It's just efficient for like the price when
Right.
you're a support kind of just getting into it. So
Right, they don't get enough farm from you guys, right? They get it. All right, we'll look at the tier 3 items, look at those, and then we can round this out. So the first one is actually super unique. The Griffin Wing earrings, and obviously with magical ADCs, this is where we talked about that. The TLDR is really the passive on this. Obviously, you get the attack speed, the physical power, the magical power. But the actual projectile speed of your basic attacks increased by 40%, but you've reduced your basic attack damage by 15%. So the projectiles are moving faster, but they're dealing a little bit less damage. The give and take of that, I mean, it's kind of got a mask feel of things, where you're getting more of something but losing something else. Do you think magical ADCs are going to like this item, the projectile speed increase? How impactful do you think something like that could feel?
I think it doesn't work on Freya, right? Because it's an ability auto.
It does work on Freya, but I heard there's a bug, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
not 100% sure what
Yeah.
that's about.
I mean, I think it's.
If you're playing
unique
all
item.
on mid, do you think is there a world where you're
I've seen
trading?
the machine gun.
It's
though.
fun, machine
yeah,
gun,
yeah.
I've seen it in action, and this is hilarious to see.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Does it feel tangible? 40% increased like projectile speed? Is that?
Yeah.
You can definitely feel it.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
just
unique.
don't know how many people are going to buy it, because
In
I
the,
mean, the tanks are going to be in front of you anyways, right? You're going to hit them. So.
Yeah.
Right.
But we'll see. I mean,
in the testing, I think it was 50%.
Right.
Oh, they nerfed it, really? Wow.
No, that thing.
It's unique.
We
you know?
ran in testing, and then someone did the X bolt, and they were just like, it was like beaming you,
Right.
and you did not hear anything.
Hey, I'm game for that. It's unique. I hope to see a little bit of it because I'm trying to because projectile speed's just been the same as long as I can
Yeah.
remember. Something a bit different, and that could be cool. The next tier 3 item, the Sphinx's Baubles. This one, 2,700 gold. This one was the CDR tier 2. You get 80 magical power, a bunch of physical power, more MP5. And then the passive, of course, on this tier 3, increases your CDR cap from 40 to 60. Ability damage dealt decreased by 20, and healing decreased by 20 on your abilities. So you're getting more CDR, less damage and healing. As mids, is there a world where you're buying this item?
So I think this item is another item that it looks like it's a mage item, but it's not actually a mage item.
I think it sneaks into the support mindset, maybe.
Maybe a solo laner,
Solo.
a guardian in solo.
Yeah, some gods like that.
Yeah.
I think the downside is just too bad for the majors that
Yeah,
don't
man.
Yeah, I mean, 20%
I mean,
less
Big
damage.
damage, bro.
We already don't do like that much damage until,
We can't deal with
until
less
6
damage, guys.
items. We are not buying that.
True.
6 item,
sure.
I'm reducing my damage.
Yeah.
So outside of the scope of mids, then, do you feel like this could be a meta-changing
Yeah, I can see that.
style
Yeah.
of item?
Definitely, like some god that can abuse this could be
Yeah.
super annoying.
Nox. Oh goodness. Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe the ones that were building like the Lono style anyway. Like I didn't care about damage anyway. I do appreciate the healing decreased by 20% because
Yeah.
healing spam with that item would have felt pretty strong. Okay, so maybe not in mid, maybe outside of that.
Thanks item again.
Yeah. Item, honestly.
Thanks getting fun.
So Manticore spikes. This one again, I think maybe felt like it came out of the rose spike earrings, which was maybe a more support style tier 2. Passive big on this one. When you hit an enemy god with hard crowd control, they drop a spike. When you or an ally pick up the spike, they gain a buff that causes their next ability to deal bonus damage equal to 3% of their max HP. Doubled if you're the one who gets it. They last for 7 seconds. So I'm sure this is not something, the CCR probably feels nice on this. I imagine this is not something a mid as a mage will buy, but as far as the little spikes on the ground, the picking up of the spikes, the additional ability-based damage, do you see a world where as mids you're focused on that type of thing in a team fight as gameplay? trying to pick up spikes to get that little extra ability burst.
believe from what I saw, it's like really hard to see them. I think they're actually like really small. I'm pretty sure.
In a team fight, it probably is ridiculously hard to like call shots and then.
I think it would be interesting if it just kind of like just snapped to the first person that was like near them on the drop, and then just kind of makes it a little bit better. It also kind of sucks that it only lasts for 7 seconds on you instead of just always keeping it. Like I feel like you could just pick it up and just hold it,
until
and then and then you can like stack it up and then use it.
I've been told this item is not great.
Yeah, I've also been told that it is not that good.
Manticore spikes. Sorry, maybe not much SPL play.
I probably would not buy that. I don't know. I haven't tested it though. But I
We'll see.
That's bad.
We'll see.
Because you can't see it, man. Like get your monocle out for the team fight. Like look for them.
There's too much going on.
Where is the spike?
I need to do 6% of their HP.
Now, if we lose a team fight by 3% of someone's health, then we know the spike.
100%.
Tough, you know.
All right, the final item we'll talk about and we'll round out our round table with here. Again, maybe support style of item, but the Tier 3 Fey Blessed Hoops, 2,200 gold, nice and cheap for our support friends. Each time an allied god dies within 70 units of you, or heals an allied god with an ability, a flower drops, so another dropping thing. So same idea, except this time it's a health shield. 7.5% of your health. So on the Manticore spikes, it's more damage. On this one, if you pick up the little flower blossom, you're getting a shield. I feel like I know where this is going. Is this not, maybe the visuality of it, not something that'll change the ebb and flow of your game as a mid laner too much?
Nah,
And this item is actually toxic. Like it actually should. It is. If it's good, it's OP, and it would be unplayable to play into.
Right.
And if it's bad, then it's just never going to be built.
I just see
It's
a
like
Ye-
one of those items.
I just see a Yemoya with that item, and that's not fun for
And
the
those
other.
flowers you can actually see, so you can pick those bad boys up pretty easily.
Yeah, because it's each time you heal an allied god. I wonder how that works with like bounce heals. Right?
in testing,
I saw a Terra 3 with like 6 flowers on it.
Yeah, in testing that was 15%.
Right.
Yeah, that was not cool.
So as mids, this is not something we're buying, but does, depending on how it works, maybe have the potential to.
I mean, on the cards that you buy it, technically your last item would be like a tank item or whatever.
Right.
So in theory, you could buy it like last item, but you're probably not going to end up buying it. It'd probably just be someone else.
It's probably
that can
more
do
like
it.
a tank. I haven't tested it though. Again, but. Has anyone ever tested it? Like, is it a decent item? I don't know.
I don't know, when I was
not
OP, I
It's
built it first
crazy on
on Chung.
Terra, guys. Because you all, and then you have your 3. And
Mid Terra?
Oh, true.
If
If
there's-
there's double stacks, right?
Yeah.
Or double drop.
If you 3 a lot of people, and then all 5 of your teammates, there's like 10 flowers.
Just like
Mid Terra? Are you buying it on Mid
I
Terra?
would probably buy like 4th item of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's cool. I mean,
It is kind of
some gods, it's just OP on. Cool.
Okay, I do. All right, sorry. I said that was the last item. Production, I'm skipping all around here, so just a quick jump here because I think we do need to talk about Bumbas Hammer.
Like a power.
The new stats, physical power, magical power, 10% CDR. Still, you get the true damage on your next basic attack. Still reduce cooldowns by 1, but you're only healed for flat 120. Oh, you were on it, production. You guys are unbelievable. So Bumbas Hammer was a mid item we saw built a good bit. New Bumbas Hammer, are we still building it in certain mid laners?
Probably the certain ones. I think the 120 health, I think you were max healing for like 136 or something, or
Right,
140
anyway.
or something that someone was saying. So it doesn't really change the heal part. I think the biggest thing for now being in a mid is that it has power on it now.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So
You think it's pretty good,
you might
Shinta?
see it. but-
Yeah, I think it's better if you go for the damage with the item. You cannot like go like Gilgamesh full tank
Right.
and
Yeah.
heal a lot.
So maybe.
The Gilgamesh bomb is hammer now.
Yeah, right.
Punt it into the wall and then punt it into the wall again.
All right, mids. We talked about it a lot. We answered a lot of questions. I appreciate you guys coming in and sitting down with me a little bit. Final question: what is the best role in Smite? Mid is the best role
Guardian.
in Smite.
Support.
We're all over the place. Mid. This was Benny Q, Shinto, Venenu, Paul. This was the roundtable. Thanks everyone for watching and asking your questions. Stick around. We got more content coming.
That man, but he had the horsey, and horsey, don't you stop! Fido King, Fido, and Fido King.
I gave up dabbing for Lynn.
Cool. No more dabbing for Final Call.
He looked at me and said, I'm going to be on that stage next year. I'm going to become a world champion.
Ripping through, Titan, down, ball 3, a double goal.